Hi, I'm Lita Leapin.
And I'm Jim Gordon.
Welcome to another edition of Our City Tonight.
Well, Lita and our viewers, we are in our restaurant studio here at Hydra in the Exchange Hotel downtown Vancouver. We're in the Cabana Room, Lita, a place where we like to film and a place we like to book parties in.
We absolutely love to party and we love to film our show, and so let's get right to Our City Tonight.
This segment is sponsored by the Richmond Sentinel, providing news, entertainment, and human interest stories in print and online.
You were 5 and I was 6. We rode on horses made of sticks. You wore black and I wore white. You would always win the fight. Bang, bang. You shot me down. Bang, bang. I hit the ground, bang, bang.
Well, she gained worldwide acclaim for her debut album, Contradictions. It received rave reviews from critics and fans alike and held the #1 spot on the HMV. Remember those guys, folks? The HMV Vancouver Indie Sales Charts for over 7.5 months. She was also voted Canada's Best Independent Artist in 2001 by fans at the Canadian Music.com. She has not stopped since, and she wisely, for the last 5 years, has been the house entertainer at a number of places in sunny, warm Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. I'm not going to ask her what it's like there today because it'll just upset me, but it is a great pleasure to welcome back my old friend Kim Kuzma to Our City Tonight. Kimmy, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much, Jim. And I'm not going to tell you how beautiful it is here.
You know, I've got lights on me here. I sense your lights are coming from natural sunshine. So, hey, before we talk about your long career, let's talk a bit about where you are in housing, as I like to say, in Puerto Vallarta, because people are still heading down there. We're into the spring, but Canadians, Americans all want to head down to Vallarta. Where can they see you in that lovely town?
People can see me at the Palm Cabaret on Olas Altas in Old Town, Zona Romantica. Or you can also see me at Coco's Kitchen every other Monday, well, for the month of April, on Pulpito in Old Town as well. So
that's such a great area of town too. So I love. I mean, I often stay in other parts, but I love going down there because it just doesn't get touched with the expansionism of big hotel resorts and everything. It's such a cozy area. Hey, let's talk about you. You really do not just Vallarta, but you also spend your summers often entertaining in Maine. I want to say that you do a lot of gay cruises. You're very popular, and you got a really solid fan base in the gay community. You just finished a Panama Canal cruise. You're going to be in the Mediterranean in September on a cruise, and a river cruise in December down the Danube. Talk a bit of what it's like entertaining on cruise ships.
I have to say, I perform a lot for Brand G Vacations, and they are so much fun. I've taken my mother pretty much on most of them, and she says I will never do another straight cruise. So she loves them. They're a lot of fun. It's not all debauchery. It's people that just want to travel and have a party every night, and it's just, I can't even explain it. It's just a really cool community, and I'm blessed to perform on them and see the world. So thank you.
You know, one of the things I've loved about your musical career over the last 2 decades, and I'll say you started when you were 8, is that you really actually, your diversity of music and what you do. I'm looking at that first album and what it produced. Your latest album is all 70s music but done Latin style, and it kind of ties in with what you do for your shows live, where you like to do a lot of mashup. I think from Shirley Bassey to Rihanna. Tell people about your latest album, but also what they can see when they see you perform.
When they see us perform, everything is kind of done like with a flamenco style guitar. So we'll do everything, like I said, new and old, but it's with, it all has a Latin feel. So sometimes a regular song will be into cumbia or bossa nova, and it just makes it very unique. It tends to be, these are ticketed shows, so people tend to want to know the songs that they're listening to. So I must change them up in order to make them interesting to us as a band. So it's very unique, and I love it. Excellent musicians in Vallarta.
Yeah, I got to give you certainly have surrounded yourself with high quality on that end. I always like to ask people, singers, actors, musicians, You originally from Peace River and I think Dawson Creek. I knew you when you were here in Vancouver. Talk about the people that influenced you.
Definitely Annie Lennox, Patti LaBelle, Aretha Franklin, and Engelbert Humperdinck, Tom Jones, I've had the pleasure to meet, who is a consummate gentleman. Just more soulful artists tended to make me want to get into this business and listen to that style of music and see what I could do with it.
Well, I tell you, you certainly have done a lot with it in your long career, and we should mention as well that usually you finish up. Usually you finish up in Puerto Vallarta, and then you often head to Maine where you entertain. But I guess you are staying in Puerto Vallarta this summer because I don't know when you find the time, but you also do a lot of real estate down there.
Yes, I've started in real estate as well. So normally I would spend my summer in Algonquin, Maine, at the front porch, piano bar, and this year I've just decided I'll probably go back to a few shows, but I'm going to stay here this year, and real estate market is crazy. And, you know, who wants to see me in a disco outfit at 70, Jim?
I'm not going to say anything about that, Kim. I'm sure you could pull it off because I know it's at least 30, 40 years away. Hey, you always have all your details on your website. It's kimkuzma.com. You can check out all the things she'll be doing this year. And make sure you check her out in Puerto Vallarta if you're heading that way. Hey, I got to leave you with this photo that you're looking at right now. This is you and I in what was my office from 1997 to 2005, and that was the DJ booth at the Virgin Megastore. You were in the DJ booth promoting your first debut album, Contradictions. Boy, I'm not sure I'm doing kind of like a Burt Reynolds shirt undone too much look there, but anyway, that was some good times. Kimmy, thanks for coming on the show. I appreciate taking time out of your busy day to join us on Our City Tonight, and I look forward to seeing you in PV when I get down there soon.
I look forward to it. Thank you so much, Jim, and thank you to your entire crew there.
Thanks, Kim. Enjoy the sunshine.
This segment was sponsored by the Richmond Sentinel, providing news, entertainment, and human interest stories in print and online.
Well, we hope you're enjoying Our City Tonight, and with me now, probably needs no introduction, but John Ferry, famous Vancouver artist.
In the flesh.
You are amazing. Actually, your art I see in so many friends' homes and all over. You've done a lot in the city, and you're very rare because you were actually born in Vancouver.
Yes, born and raised Vancouver boy, and raised here as well, which is really something. So, I think there's about 40,000 paintings floating around out there in the city and around the world. So it's been pretty exciting.
It's gorgeous, gorgeous work, and I can see why. And you tend to paint a lot of the iconic visions of Vancouver, a lot of places.
I'm painting Vancouver before we don't recognize it anymore. So I'm trying to capture the thing. And I like the mixture of the old and the new, which is really cool. And as my work's spreading out, I'm like, can you paint this in San Francisco? Can you paint this in New York? And that kind of thing. So it's starting to spread out a little bit. But my love and my muse is Vancouver, for sure.
Yeah,
so.
Leading you right into that, what got you started?
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, when I was a boy, when the kids were sent to arts and crafts, I was sent to remedial reading because I'm so dyslexic. And back then you were just dumb. Luckily enough, I had very loving parents that would take me to the art supply store, which is where I wanted to go, and I would spend my allowance on my art supplies, and that was what I did, and it was just, became to define me. Grade 7, I discovered something called the art department, and the trajectory of my life changed forever. I applied for art school in grade 9, and it was just something that I was always good at, and something I could always do, and I got my self-esteem from it, and I painted my fears, painted my tears, and painted my happiness through my work. So it just came to a thing, and then there was just no question. As soon as I graduated high school, it was into art school, and from there my career has just flourished.
Yeah,
so,
and you're an Emily Carr graduate.
Emily Carr alumni,
so
absolutely.
Couldn't be more Vancouver.
It couldn't be more Vancouver with good old Emily, who was apparently one of the group of 7. She was the 8th, but apparently she just brought pie. So that was the deal with her. So.
Okay. Well, you paint, your medium is
I paint
acrylic.
with acrylic paint on canvas because watercolors have too much of a mind of their own, and oil paints just smell too much. So it was just finding a painting that I could work with, that dries quickly, has a really, really good, strong color impact to it. So acrylic paint was the answer for me.
Well, what do you call your style? Because when I am in friends' homes, and I'm like, okay, there's a John Ferry.
Yeah, and I like that because what a lot of people say is not, do I like that painting, but that's a John Ferry. So from the door, you can spot my work, which is really great. I don't know what my style is. I mean, I can't draw straight line, so I don't. I have a whimsical quality to my work.
Yes.
You have to make things that are recognizable, the icons of Vancouver, so you can't just say an abstract painting. But it's just, there's a whimsy to my work, and it's fun, and it's exciting, and it's happy.
And I like how you say it's a fearless color choices, because it really is. I mean, you put stuff together probably someone wouldn't imagine.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people say Vancouver's very gray and dismal, and we live in the land of glass and chrome, but I see 50,000 shades of lavender, I see 40,000 shades of turquoise, and that what comes to define me. And it's just a painting, it's not the end of the world. So if I want to make the painting yellow, then I make it yellow. If I want to paint a painting with red sky, I paint it with a red sky. I mean, there aren't any rules when it comes to painting.
No kidding. And you're not restricted to Vancouver, because I know you've been an artist in residence all over the world.
Yeah, it's been really exciting. I mean, they call me up and say, can you come and leave a painting on the wall when you're done? And the next thing you know, I'm in Hong Kong, or I'm in Paris, or New York, or all these great locations. And I just sort of pack up my paint box and off I go. It's a really cool thing that people want me to come and do that. Wonderful. And I'm certainly open to it, and I love the experience. I also, unfortunately, get so homesick, it's not even funny. So about day 4, I'm like, I want to go home. I just want to go home. So.
Well, we're glad to have you here. Now, you've done over 100 exhibitions. And speaking of exhibitions, what's coming up?
There's a show that's happening right now, which is really something, and it's called Awesome 2.0. And that's the show that I'm currently showing. It's been really great. When COVID hit, I was bound and determined to have my shows, and a girlfriend of mine who's in the medical industry phoned me and she said, John, you cannot have an opening. That's all there is to it. And I thought, oh man, what am I gonna do? So then I heard about this thing called going live on Facebook, and I thought it was going to be me sitting there with my paintings, having a good cry, with my mother messaging me for wine, and it literally reached tens of thousands of people around the world, and people could share it and they could interact with me and talk to me. And the openings are really fun, but you get a couple of thousand people in a gallery that all want a piece of you, and the evening's just a blur. The best thing about these shows, it was just suddenly I was reaching clients all over the world. Wow. People who've traveled to Vancouver said, oh, I recognize that, oh, I really like that, and I want that in my home. And I was amazed that people would buy a painting off the thing, but 30 paintings sold in a half an hour, so wonderful. It was a smashing success. I've done 4 since then, so I've learned to number the paintings, have a price list available, that kind of thing. And it's literally just me holding my iPhone and wandering around the gallery. Luckily enough, I live in a building that has a gallery space I can use anytime I want for free, so I'm going out of that building feet first in a pine box. So it works out really well. So the new show's Awesome 2.0. It's up on Facebook, and just follow me on Facebook. That's all you have to do, and you can see the show live.
Perfect. Well, thanks, John Ferry, artist and award-winning artist, I have to say. Thanks for joining us on Art City tonight, and that is one of the features of Awesome
2.0. This is one of my favorite paintings in the show.
We'll have all of John's contact information in the rolling credits at the end of the show.
Awesome.
Well, we hope you're enjoying this edition of Our City Tonight. What you're looking at right now is the cover for the latest edition of Iconic Concierge magazine, where you'll find one of the print versions of Our City Tonight.
Yeah, check out the newest spring cocktail that we're featuring, as well as the new whiskey from Mad Lab Distillery.
Yeah, you can also check out a great binge-worthy show on Netflix called F1 Drive to Survive, and a great book on Jimmy Coburg. So look for that edition of Iconic Concierge magazine. It is available now. He has been a professional actor, director, writer, producer, musician for over 40 years. He has appeared in over 200 films and TV shows as a lead or a guest star. He has also worked the stage in Canada, Britain, United States, in over 100 plays, musicals, and cabaret. Now, recently he was seen at the Stanley Theatre in the Pulitzer Prize-winning play August, Osage County, and also Tom Waits' William S. Burroughs. I didn't know about this one. And Robert Wilson's The Black Rider. He, of course, is also a Leo Award-winning actor. We have seen him on the red carpets in this town many times. It is a great pleasure to welcome, I call this guy acting royalty in our country, Mackenzie Gray.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, we're just thrilled to have you on board with us today. Now, I'm going to jump right in. And it's apparent that one of your greatest skills is versatility. In fact, you got a role one time by just sending in a video of you doing 15 different characters in 1.5 minutes.
Yes.
Now, you've played Keith Richards, you've played David Bowie, you've played Mick Jagger and Frankenfurter. Is this a skill you'd agree that is one of your strongest?
I think so. I mean, I like to change and I like to transform, and I'm not afraid of it. Some actors don't want to change what they are. I dive in. I really love it. The 15 characters in the one tape was, they were looking for versatility, and they had talked about he could be a British spy 1 minute, he could be an Arab, camel, jockey. They had all these things that you could be, and they didn't know what they wanted for the characters. So I sat in an audition room in Toronto, and back in 1998, they didn't have digital cameras as much. This one had a digital lock-off camera. And so basically we could lock it off without getting a quirky thing like you would with VHS. And there was an actress, and we shot her in the frame. And so her hair was in the frame, she had curly red hair, and I was taped down so that I could, each line, we finished the line, and then I'd get up, change into something else, sit back down, and keep going. So it was really bold and broke every rule of self-taping, but the producers said they'd never seen anything like it, and they hired me to a 6-year contract with Columbia TriStar based on that take.
Wow.
So sometimes you take a bold choice and it can pay off. I mean, they might have said, what's this? And, whatever.
Yeah, sure,
But Deborah Pratt, who's one of the producers of Quantum Leap, she really loved it, and Erwin Winkler and different people, and they said, we got to get this guy. And so luckily that happened. That's what brought me to Vancouver.
Wonderful.
Speaking of Vancouver, I remember coming out here in the mid-'80s to see a family and friends, and there was a bit of a buzz because all of a sudden there were all these shows shooting here, like 21 Jump Street, I think Wise Guys. You've been around long enough. Talk about the landscape of this city and how much better and different and diverse it is for actors, writers, the crews, compared to, say, back in the late 80s and into the 90s when you moved here permanently.
It was already in full bloom when I got here. And in fact, the day I arrived was the last day of the X-Files. And X-Files closing party was our launch party. They merged together.
Yeah.
So, goodbye, David, whatever. But it was, the crews here are amazing. I think it's always had a really diverse community here. And, maybe the American shows were not as diverse as one would like, but that's changing now and long overdue. But it was an amazing feel here that the crews all got along well, and it wasn't we're the Electrics, you're the Grips. It was all a big family, and I really loved the atmosphere here. And it was just they had learned from the best, and then they became the best themselves. And I think that we do great stuff here. And after my series, everyone said, just go down to LA now, you've had a series, off you go. And I stayed here because there was so much good work. And it may not have been the best career choice at the time, but it was for me because I got to do really amazing work with amazing people.
Now you're also a musician, and you're writing some songs for movies coming up.
An upcoming film called Earthlickers, written by Justine Warrington and Alison Araya, and also now I think there's a couple of other writers working with them. But it's women who've written this great campy, sexy rock musical about these 7 goddesses who are sent down by the oracle of the universe to come to Earth to find out why there's so much negativity and crap and corruption, which is sending off bad vibes and upsetting the balance of the universe. So they're on a mission to find love and make the armies of love take over the Earth.
We need something like that right now.
And they're all in silver spandex and pink hair, and so I'm writing music for it. There's
Perfect.
6 songs that are being written.
Well, you're no stranger to campy rock and roll. You were the star of a stage play, brought back the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yeah, it was the 21st anniversary revival. There were only 5 in the world. And Richard O'Brien, who wrote the Rocky Horror, had to approve them. And he wanted whoever was doing it to not copy the movie, not try and do a rehash of the movie. And so Peter Hinton, a wonderful, brilliant Canadian director, he came up with the idea of setting it in essentially Warhol's factory in the 1970s.
And Warhol's got a great documentary happening right now, so it's very timely to bring that one back.
Yes, and well, this was many years ago, and he was ahead of the game. And everything was in white, and it was wonderful. And playing Frankenfurter was one of the roles of a lifetime. It was like being a rock star.
You are amazing. I've seen the.
It was great fun.
And I've got to mention, I don't think we'll ever have a guest on where we can say this, but you're so diverse. You wrote for Sesame Street,
Yes.
which is Fantastic. I can pretty much assure we'll not have another guest on doing that. I do want to talk to you before we wrap things up. You recently had a physical challenge, to say the least, but you have tackled it with such strength and humor. Tell our viewers that may not know about this. Happened just before the outbreak of COVID.
I was in El Salvador working, and on the last day, I had a shower, and the water there was a microbe in the water, a super microbe, got into my foot, and then did a lot of damage. By the time I was back in Canada, it was pretty bad. So they had to amputate part of my foot, and then that didn't really heal. The damage had gone further into the foot, so I lost my leg. And that was after 6 months of trying to correct it. And people had known about my journey through the leg, and so I thought, well, the next day when I woke up, I had no leg. And so I took one of those beach pictures where people, take the picture there, with the ocean and their legs crossed and so on. And I did one of those, but missing a leg. And I just said, well, it's a pirate's life for me.
Oh,
and I just basically said, I intend to get back on my feet. I want to dance with my girlfriend at New Year's, and I'm ready to go. And people found that very inspirational. I was just writing it because that's who I am.
Yeah, sure.
But I got literally thousands of messages. I got 2,000 likes on the post, and I got so many private messages from people saying that they found it inspirational that everyone was whining about COVID and being locked in and so on. And here I was making jokes about losing my legs. So I guess it had a certain power for people. So I just decided to keep that going. So when I was doing physio the first time and I had a gown on, I said, could you take a picture? And I lifted the gown up and had the stump, and I said, I'm just showing a little leg, I just tried to keep it funny. And, wow. To just say that if you have humor, you can conquer pretty much anything. And I had a lot of support and love from people, so that was good. And when I got the leg finally, months later, because the wound has to heal and so on, and the first day you're supposed to get up, you stand up, and they adjust it, and then you take 3 steps and sit down. And I was so glad to be upright, I took off. And the guy who's the leg specialist said, and he's off, and they had to chase me. And I said, look, I can do an arabesque. And the physio people were, no. So they took the leg away from me.
Oh.
Yeah, and only under supervision,
Right.
But then we had a COVID lockdown for 21 days. We were locked in the room, and I said, could you give me the leg so I can at least practice? And they did. So I made quantum leaps just being able to walk around the room.
Literally, yeah. When you walked in here, you wouldn't know. You have a cane with you, and
that's just to get seats on the bus. Apparently you don't take, but anyway.
Distinguished lawyer.
Oh,
hey, it's
great.
been a great thrill to have you with us. As I said, we could take a full half hour just talk about your IMDb page. So I appreciate you coming on and talking about the challenges you had, and also a lot of work coming up for you. It has not slowed you down.
No, there's a voice work. I've got a new animation series. I don't know if on camera's been slow, but I think part of that is just adjusting. And I was, I think some people worry about you having an amputated leg. You can't do this. I can do anything, and I have to let them know that. So. Awesome.
There he is. Mackenzie Gray,
I can play
thank you for joining
pirates.
us. You're going to play pirates, I guarantee you.
They shot Peter Pan here. I couldn't get a look. I mean, Peter Pan, please. It's free.
Oh, great to have you. It's Mackenzie Gray.
Thanks
We'll have
so
all his
much.
information in the closing credits of our show.
Thank you.
Well, if you're a regular viewer of Our City Tonight, you'll know that we partnered not too long ago with our friends at the Richmond Sentinel, which you can check out online and in print. It's also the home of one of the print versions of Our City Tonight.
Yeah, check out some of the great guest interviews we've done in print version.
Look for the Richmond Sentinel. It's available now. Well, over the last 4 or 5 months, we've been filming here at Hydra in the Cabana Room. We've talked about great food, cocktails, happy hour. Now we're going to talk about pastries and desserts, joined by Danya. She is the pastry chef. I have been very patient in not digging into this, but you walk us through this so I can then eat.
Sure. Thank you so much. Yes, so I'm gonna start off with what we have. This is our most favorite, and everybody loves it when they come in. This is our baklava house. All of these are house made, and the baklava is with pistachio ice cream.
Oh, my favorite. Yeah.
Yeah, and we top it up off the baklava with a really super aromatic ingredients with the syrup in it. It's amazing. You have to try this.
Oh, you can
This is
count
our
on it.
favorite.
Yes, yes.
And this one is bugatsa. It's very authentic Greek dessert.
Right.
And it has a phyllo pastry, layered in phyllo pastry, and wrapped like in the middle, it's semolina pastry cream. And it's flavored with orange zest and vanilla. You will love this too, and I will
ahead.
finish
Okay,
it off.
yeah,
Is
sure.
it okay?
Oh, you please do.
We always serve this with the dark chocolate ganache.
Oh, goodness.
And I believe in Greek they do the same. And you will. This is killer.
Put it back here so we can all see that.
Sure.
Oh, wow. And you've also got chocolate. So this is all done in-house, the chocolates, everything.
Yeah, and this is our chocolate olive oil cake, and it's actually gluten-free as well.
Okay.
So it's very tasty, and this is what we created in-house. And yeah, these are what we always have, but at weekends, usually I get to play around with flavors and create some featured desserts, which is really fun to work, I get a feedback from customers, and
Right.
yeah, it's really fun to work with the different textures and play around with desserts. And it's you'll have to come and try the dessert.
Oh, I'll be doing it right here. I don't have to come back any other. It's right here.
No,
I'll
but
be
the
leaving
features
with
as
this.
well.
Oh, okay. And some espresso martinis I think we have here.
Yes.
So I will be full and alert. Donya, thanks for joining us. Come check the great
Welcome.
pastries and desserts out
Thank
here
you.
at Hydre. Thank you.
Yes,
Let's get back to our city tonight. Well, time to wrap up another episode of Our City Tonight here at Hydra Restaurant in the Exchange Hotel. Check out the Cabana Room. It's great for parties. It's also great for filming.
It is, and we want to thank all the folks at Hydra for hosting us. Also, reaching out to our audience, connect with us on all of our social media at Our City Tonight.
I'm Jim Gordon.
I'm Lita Leapins.
We'll see you on the next edition of Our City Tonight.
Don't forget to check out past episodes and individual interviews, all on the Our City Tonight YouTube channel. Outdoor wear for Jim and Lita provided by Helly Hansen, alive since 1877. The Richmond Sentinel, providing news, entertainment, and human interest stories in print and online.